right, summer is a time that often offers kids a little bit more freedom than they'll have at any other point during the year.
Yeah, well, that's great for a lot of kids. That unstructured time can present a lot of challenges for children with ADHD, with oppositional defiant disorder, and with autism spectrum disorders.
Why and what can be done to help them navigate with these difficulties? Dr. Robert Reynolds is here from the Reynolds Clinic with some suggestions. Nice to see you, Doc.
You too.
It's always a pleasure. All right, so summertime does represent a little bit of a challenge.
Well, it does for these type of kids because they are dependent upon structure. When they don't have structure,
right.
Exactly, that's the key. And when summertime we have a lot less structure, oftentimes these children really have a difficult time and will withdraw to their rooms and play video games all day long. When you ask them to do anything other than that, you get a lot of pushback and a lot of attitude. So this is a difficult time for parents.
Yeah, there's no routine that's set up. In other words, maybe they're not going to camp every day. Maybe they're just home and there's nothing going on.
I love the last sentence. Greater opportunities for chaos, which is the truth, right?
It is, and they will find it. They seek out chaos. Chaos has a certain sort of charm and attraction to them. So especially when they get bored, they will do things to get everybody worked up.
Everybody worked
and
up.
can make everybody's holiday, vacation time miserable if you are not careful and if you do not plan carefully with these children.
Right. So some of the solutions to this, I know with my own sons, I always try to have a few projects in order. Maybe that's something I've done the night before that can, keep them busy throughout the day.
The more planning that you do and the more aware ahead of time of what those plans are, the more likely you will succeed. These children often have a very difficult time with transitions and things that they're not prepared for.
Okay.
That can set them off in a very, very detrimental way. So I strongly encourage parents, especially in the beginning of the summer, maybe we should have done the show a month ago, where you plan out
plenty of time.
That's right, with a lot of vacations coming up, to let these children know ahead of time what is the plan, what's the plan for the day, what's the plan for the week, what's the plan for the month. The more that they know, the less likely you're going to hit those bumps in the road. But that's what these kids very much need. This is why they do better when they're in school than when they're home for the summer.
Yeah, I never really even thought of it. That's great. All right, anticipate and address anxieties and fears.
Because many of them suffer from a lot of anxiety and fear. One of the big problems that they have is that they're very anxious, they're uncertain about what to do. And if you can speak to that and help them talk about that, it's less likely that they're going to act it out.
Right.
Give them a voice. Give them a chance to get it off of their chest. They're not usually very, let's say, psychologically minded. So we need to help our children verbalize what their concerns and fears and roadblocks are to help them get through those transitions more difficult. The camp is a perfect example. Many times, once they get to camp, they're fine, but the anxiety of beginning camp, of that first day of camp, can just be overwhelming.
They just don't know what it's going to be like.
And there's no way. So the more that you give them a chance to talk about it, to prepare for it, get their minds wrapped around it, the more successful you're going to be. It's a lot of work. I get that. And we as parents want to kick back in the summer and not have to work as hard as we do during the school year.
But sometimes you have to work harder.
You do. If you've got a child with ADHD or oppositional behavior problems, you have to work harder during these times.
And you say it's a good idea to post the schedules.
Yes, so they have something that they can see visually. They're very, very grounded when it comes to the visuals and auditories. So you give them as much of the visual and the auditory input as you can to help them prepare for their day.
And what you expect from them, too. You maybe want to post expectations. Here's what you need to do. Here's what I'm expecting. Maybe you could take out the garbage today or do something else chore-related.
Yes, but with these children in particular, you have to do a lot of what I call quid pro quos, meaning that if you're going to do this, this is what you will get. There has to be a deal.
Okay.
It isn't like in the old days where we just did what we were supposed to do and that was the bottom line. Nowadays, you have to negotiate with kids, particularly teenagers. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of dig-in and a lot of pushback.
Right. So do some negotiating, even if you're not really used to that.
And think about what you're willing to negotiate for.
Okay.
I mean, the real world is all about negotiations. I mean, you wouldn't work here unless you got paid. Well, you might, Scott.
Actually, I probably would if they would just let me keep coming here. I think it would be wonderful.
That sounds good.
No, don't listen to that. No, but there has to be, right?
With teenagers in particular, especially those who have ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder. And fairness is another key ingredient in working with these children. If you have more than one child, you've got to be very very clear that you're treating each child fairly, because if you don't, you're going to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're hosting some seminars in September, correct?
Yes, where we'll be talking about many of these management techniques and how to help parents who've got these challenging children to meet those challenges and actually enjoy parenting.
One is on Wednesday, September 27th. It's going to be held at 6:30 in the evening. And if Saturdays are better for you, we've also got one Saturday, September 30th at 9 a.m. Both are going to be held in his Middletown, Dr. Reynolds' Middletown location. To register and to learn more about Dr. Reynolds' approach, head to reynoldsclinic.com.
Dr. Reynolds, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
With great information.
Always great.
Terrific
Always nice to see you,
information.
Dr. Reynolds. All right.